right, exactly 4 days left in January. Nilikwambia hii mwezi inaenda mbio kama like you don't know. Eh? Watu wa Manu wanapiga kelele sana. So kama that's the end of everything they do. Wacha tu mute for now so that we can even begin the show. Good morning, this is the Morning Cafe. Karibu sana. We're here to wake you up the best way we know how. 27th of January 2026. My name is Freddie Dibali.
That's 3 days to the end of January.
It's 4. Nena mpaka 31st.
Tulisema we don't count weekends. Wani unakuanga hapa weekend. It's World Breast Pumping Day, and of course this day is significant to promote the benefits of breastfeeding. Tuangalie magazeti. All
right. Na wacha tuanzie hapa. Tunaanza ile pali kuna swali. Nani anawinda Gachagua? Hiyo ni swali. Kuna gazeti ingine inajaribu kujibu hilo swali.
Yes. Wakisema they're untouchable.
That's the standards. And then tunaenda Daily Nation, same story. Storm over Gachagua, gun attacks.
The Star.
Tuende huko, hii Star huko.
Ni gani umeona hapo?
Kuna ingine ya siasa. From pledges
People Daily, from pledges to blunders.
Even Business Daily. KRA catches 392,000 in tax evasion crackdown. Wow, those are many people. But then the Star decides to go on a totally different tangent, today being a Tuesday. Hakuna siasa.
Interesting. Unataka kusoma nisome.
Ni yako nimekuachia.
1 in 10 Nairobi men struggling with erectile disorder.
Sasa ile kuna hii siasa yote hii. Star wameamua hiyo.
Lazima mwanikwe. Tujue nini inaendelea.
So those are the local dailies and we'll be back to take a look at them shortly. For today's State of the Nation, we'll be having David Ole Sankok, a member of the East Africa Legislative Assembly. Wakili Harrison Kenyanjui will also be with us alongside James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North. And he'll be with us before he goes to Naivasha because they're having their annual retreat just before they kick off their 5th session of Parliament. They've been on recess since December for the Christmas holidays. So wanaenda kwa resort ingine very expensive in Naivasha for 5 days kudiscuss ile kazi watafanya.
Wow.
Kukuwa MP ni kazi mzuri.
Wow.
Later on the show,
Biashara Tuesday, Kenyans are borrowing to survive. So that's the conversation you're having today with Kathleen Mureithi, Head of Programs and Training at Sintonomy Limited.
Yes, nakumbuka walikuwa wanasema Wakenya sasa wameacha hata banks, wameenda kwa Shylock kila mtu. Ni kubaya, ni kugwana. Anyway, let's take a look at the dailies across East Africa. And we start off in Uganda, where congratulatory messages continue being received for the president-elect Yoweri Museveni. Pale chini kubwa na inaendelea kugrow. Hii sijui from who? Frank Gashumba is the chairman council of advanced something. Na congratulate Museveni.
Leo ametoa
kila mwingine anapigwa picha huyu ameka tu Museveni afadhali. Priorities for new term out. So the president has already said what he plans to do in this 7th presidential term. President Museveni unveils 2026-2031 plan at Liberation Day celebrations. So amesema ile mipango wako nayo. Hiyo ndio habari kubwa kwenye ukurasa wa mbele. Pale kwingine I think he had alikuwa ameenda huko Ushago mali anakuanga na zile ng'ombe kubwa kubwa, and then speaker was among those people who visited him there. So pale juu kuna picha ya Museveni na speaker Among na Tabweya wakimtembelea. So the main discussion now is the priorities that President Museveni has. Still linked to the elections, Museveni files defense in election petition. Remember, unlike Tanzania, in Uganda you can challenge the election in the Supreme Court. That has happened, but the president-elect has already filed his defense. That's a new vision. Still in Uganda, Daily Monitor, my changes. Of course, speaking about President Yoweri Museveni's changes in his 7th term, and it says President Museveni used the celebrations marking his 40 years in power to paint a rosy picture of Uganda's state of affairs, declaring that the economy, manufacturing and tourism are among the sectors that have grown by leaps and bounds over the past 4 decades and are now poised to take the country to new heights. Well, Uganda's economy has transformed from 13.6 trillion shillings in 1986 to the current 234.1 trillion shillings, Ugandan shillings, that one. Industrialization, they say government has constructed various industrial parks around the country. Service sector has also improved, oil and gas as well. All right. His changes, this story is on page 4 and 5. New TB rating, Choli blamed on poor health-seeking habits, another story on page 30.
It is D-Day for municipal division elections. Yani election haiishi kule Uganda.
Hata kuna ingine hapa 7 days to go. They are still, Uganda is still deciding. These sub-county town municipal divisions chairpersons.
Oh,
so there are still more elections going on. And those ones are slated for 4th of February. Wow. So still, lakini sasa ni zile za municipalities and counties.
All right, that's Uganda.
All right, crossing over to Tanzania, and we start off with the Mwananchi. Katakata ya CCM yazusha mjadala. Sema mchakato, wanamnukuu Daktari Richard Mbunda hapa, sema mchakato wa kisiasa unataka yule anayechaguliwa huku ngazi za chini ndiye anaonekana kupendwa na kuhitajiwa na wananchi. Hii ya kuchaguliwa na wengi, baadaye kamati inakana kuamua tu kata huyu peleka yule, inaathiri chama hicho na kutengeneza mpasuko. Ni siasa za ndani ya chama cha CCM. Wanasema wale makada wa chini inafaa upande, rising through the ranks, kutoka chini kuja juu. Si ati you just appoint each other hapa juu na hata mjulikani kule mashinani. Wow. Katakata ya CCM yazusha mjadala. Vidokezo zaidi pale chini kuna safari ya matumaini, pacha walioungana, conjoined twins, wanaitwa conjoined twins. Habari yenyewe kwenye ukurasa wa 3. Siasa, fedha, kikwazo cha ujenzi daraja mto Mligazi ni ripoti maalum kwenye gazeti hili kwenye ukurasa wa 5. Kidokezo kingine hapa moja, mambo matano kuliweka bunge mguu sawa leo. I think bunge pia linarejelea shughuli zake. Majitaka yageuka kero sugu Kariakoo. Habari yenyewe kwenye ukurasa wa 6. Gazeti la Mwananchi. Tukisalia
kule Bongo, The Citizen, what MUHA's notable global ranking means, and the Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences has emerged as Tanzania's highest ranked university in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2026, placing 3rd in East Africa. Wow. 3rd in East Africa. Hiyo ya kwanza ni gani sasa?
Hatujajua, lakini usifikirie ni za hapa.
Iko page 3. Kuna
Makerere I think na kuna zingine pia.
Yes. Ile yenu haiwezi UN?
Inaweza pia, unajua in as far as medical studies are concerned.
Oh, yeah.
Nairobi University ranks high.
That is the Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences. Digital economy gathers space as internet penetration tops 85%, and internet subscriptions grew at an average quarterly rate of 5.6% between March and December 2025, rising to 58.6 million from 56.3 million in the previous quarter. This is in Tanzania, and this story is on page 8 of the Business Daily. The bridge that has been overlooked since 1961, that's a special report by The Citizen on page 2. Kule chini, Nchemba once against leakage of public funds. And on the top strip, matters international news. Ukrainian doctor finds healing, home and purpose in Zanzibar. And Tanzania and South Korea to set up modern minerals technology center. That's The Citizen.
All right, so we'll be back to take a look at these local dailies in depth in a short while. For now, let's focus on the weather situation. We realize that there's a lot of warming up across the country, and today we start off in the Lake Victoria region in Homa Bay. It is quite warm this morning at 22 degrees, but they say it is a cloudy day, but highs of 31 degrees. Tomorrow it will drop to 28, then goes back up to 31 degrees for the rest of the month and the week. Very little precipitation expected in Homa Bay.
All right. Tuangalie Mombasa, it's 26 degrees this morning, feels like 28, highs of 30 degrees, precipitation is 5%. From tomorrow, it goes up to 31.
All right, areas around the Rift Valley, and we center on Naivasha today. It's a bit cooler this morning at 13 degrees in Naivasha, partly cloudy, highs of 26 degrees, and this will continue towards the weekend. It gets to 27 degrees. So generally, that trend of warming up continues. We can see Garissa here.
24 degrees in Garissa this morning, feels like 26. It's a partly cloudy day. Highs of 37 degrees, very, very hot day in Garissa. From Thursday, 38 degrees.
38 degrees, ukitoka nje kama umezubaa hivi hujakunywa maji unaanguka. Chunga sana. Murang'a can also get quite hot sometimes. It is quite warm, you see, much warmer than Nairobi. Nairobi, no, not Nairobi, I think Naivasha at 13. So in Murang'a it's 17 degrees this morning. Clear skies with periodic clouds, highs of 28 degrees, which is quite warm. By tomorrow it hits 30. Friday 31 degrees in Murang'a, sio kwingine Murang'a. Yes, so it's getting really hot, this entire region. No chance of precipitation at all in Murang'a. What about Ukambani?
Kitui, 19 degrees this morning, feels like 24, highs of 28 degrees. Precipitation is likely to rain today in Kitui. You need it, manake, from tomorrow, kutawaka, 31 degrees.
Have you realized how many different regions are going to hit 31 degrees?
Yeah.
31 ikikuja hapa Nairobi hakukaliki. Acha tu niwaambie ukweli hakukaliki. But most regions, and we're trying to look at different regions, the Rift Valley, the Lake Victoria region, the coastal region, Mount Kenya region, zote, they'll be hitting 31 degrees. What about Nairobi? Nairobi is comfortable weather, 18 degrees this morning. Clear skies with periodic clouds, highs of 27 degrees, which is comfortable, but towards the weekend, we are hitting 29. See, hatujafika 30, 31, but 29 degrees will be the average going forward into next week. Very little precipitation expected in Nairobi as well, but generally a warming of the temperatures across the entire nation with the very little rain. Turejelee Nairobi, tuangalie masuala ya traffic and fanya ile kitu kwanza. Poop. Yes, alafu irudi bas. Traffic situation in Nairobi. Yes, I can see a problem along Kangundo Road because you can see area around Saika. Kuna mali a long stretch of red on both sides of the road heading towards Outer Ring Road and heading towards Njiru as well. So that whole area there around Komarok as well, and ni kama inataka kunifanyia ile kitu. Yes. Mbona inafanya hivi? Yes, around that area, Mama Lucy Hospital as well. That appears to be the busiest road. Hapa chini, Outer Ring Road just getting busy around Fedha and Tasia, nothing to worry about. And of course, the usual problem at Pangani, that interchange getting busy very fast, and within the CBD around areas around bus station, railways, and the entire stretch of the Haile Selassie Avenue. Dots here and there along Jogoo Road that are getting busy, but nothing to worry about. That's probably the main traffic trouble spots, because if you look at the entire stretch of the expressway all the way into town, it's looking green, and Wayaki Way as well, no problem from that direction. Ngong Road Pier, nothing much. So yes, ni ile tu ya kawaida, nothing out of the ordinary. Normal traffic for this Tuesday morning.
All right. That's a traffic situation, 10 minutes past 6 a.m. Let's have the quote of the day.
When you feel like giving up, remember why you started. Reflect on the passion, the vision, and the dreams that set you on this path. Sometimes the darkest moments are the ones right before the dawn of success.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies, and we start off with the Daily Nation.
Yes, storm over Gachagua gun attacks, that's the biggest story there. And of course, a lot of discussion still coming from what happened at that church in Wetima, Othaya, over the weekend, actually on Sunday. More pictures coming from there. We have a picture of the vehicle. Apparently, this is Gachagua's vehicle with a huge hole on the rear windshield, and people scampering for safety with a lot of smoke in the background. That place is so peaceful. Hata mbuzi inaweza cross barabara, and they have tarmac roads, very nice roads. But mbuzi inaweza cross barabara pole pole, hakuna gari inakuja. Alafu unaleta tear gas huko. Surely. So the clergy has condemned Sunday's disruption of a church service attended by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and demanded an end to the desecration of places of worship by police officers and goons. Watu waogopi Mungu siku hizi. Narusha tear gas ndani ya kanisa. And this is not the first time we're seeing. Inaendelea kuhappen every time.
10 times.
So they've actually given us a chronology of such events all the way from November last year.
2024.
2024, yes. In Limuru. That was a funeral. December that same year. Tear gas meeting in Shamata. April. Security men battle goons in PCA Mwiki. February 2025, crusade in Kamukunji grounds. I think he ilikuwa ile bishop, the spouse of the former deputy president. July of last year, Gachagua again at AIPCA Kigumu Moranga, accosted there. August, armed youth attack former DP while returning from a political tour of the US. That's when he was on Mombasa Road. November last year, tear gas, campaigning in Narok. November again, Thanksgiving PCA Kariobangi, Vita. January this year, AIPCA, Gatundu South, vita. Tena a few days later, Nyeri, vita. So they quote Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit of the Anglican Church, who says, what unfolded at ACK Wetima grieves us deeply. God's children were hurt within the very place meant to shelter them. Children struggle to breathe where prayers should rise freely. And the concern is, fine, political rivalry ni kitu ya kawaida. But do you care about other people? Kanisani kuna watoto wadogo.
Wazee.
Kuna wazee. Kina nyanya na wengine wazee wamezeeka, hata wanaenda tu kuombewa, wengine ni wagonjwa, wanaenda kanisani waombewe wapone. Alafu unarusha tia gasuko. Sababu the person you oppose akoko ndani, ama whatever the script was, who cares? But either way. How learners who cannot read are progressing to junior school. That's another story on Matters Education. Pale juu, some hiyo wanasema nini? Half of the learners in grade 6 can neither read and comprehend. That's a grade 3 level English story. No solve numeracy problems for that class. We, ni kama watu hakuna kitu wanashikanisha.
CBC.
Lakini wanaenda grade 6. Yeah. Now hizi soma ya grade 3. That story is on page 2. All right. Kule ndani, interesting stories from D to B. A mother of 2 revives nursing dream after 15 years pause. Alafu yule, that young girl who hugged a tree, her record has officially been confirmed. The Guinness World Records has confirmed 22-year-old environmentalist Rufena Muthoni as a holder of the longest marathon tree hugging record after she sustained the embrace for 72 hours. Kuna ule mwingine alifikisha 79, lakini hakuwa officially applied to the Guinness World Record. Yeah, you know, so ni kama kuvunja. Then yesterday there was a big meeting at State House, a UDA meeting, and we'll be having one of those members of that party with us today, the MP for East Africa Legislative Assembly, Bwana Ole Sankok. Na rais akasema kwa ile election inakuja next anashinda na 3 million votes. Wacha ile 233,000 ya 2022. 3 million votes. Carrick says Man United must ride wave of confidence because they do lack confidence. They have a deficit, a serious deficit of confidence. Manu, wote. Go back page, pale Daily Nation. That's a Daily Nation. Let's move on.
All right. The Star, 1 in 10 Nairobi men struggling with erectile
Sasa nikuulize, ile vita yote tuko nayo, zile shughuli tuko nazo mingi za kisiasa na za maendeleo na za MPs. Kwa nini tunazungumzia mambo kama haya kwenye front page leo?
Now, erectile dysfunction is when a man has trouble getting or keeping an erection that is strong enough for sex. This is on page 2 of the Star.
It's actually on page 1.
See maneno ya Ann Odida iko hapa. The new finding lands her in a city that prides itself on youth, hustle, and bravado, right? And the findings also challenge the common assumption that erectile problems only affect older men. Now, hii story is very interesting, na nitawasomea kidogo. Contrary to traditional belief that ED is solely an issue of older men, recent data indicate a worrying increase in ED among younger males. The study led by urologist Dr. Crispin Oluoch says.
Most participants reported cigarette smoking, cannabis use, alcohol abuse. Hapo kwa cannabis kwanza Gen Z, sijui watasaidika na
how many age between 18 to 35 years. All right, other quick headlines. Inside Wipers bid to position Kalonzo for Ruto showdown. That's another story on page 6. Kule juu, matters politics as well. Handshake gaps, open door for Ruto and Raila strongholds. That's the stuff. Fresh, independent and different. Very fresh, independent and different today. It's not for self, so grab a copy.
Being a Tuesday, it comes with a complimentary MyGov pull-out for government tenders and jobs. Fresh, independent, different. Grab yourself a copy of this one. Na ameandika hapa bei lakini ya leo haulipi. That's a star. Business Daily, Kerry catches 392,162 in tax evasion crackdown. Kenya Revenue Authority detectives have identified that number of firms and wealthy individuals, I love that, wealthy individuals that owe it a total of 759.7 billion shillings. That alone can fund the entire education sector for a year. This sets the stage for travel bans, asset freeze, and deactivation of personal identification numbers. Once your PIN is deactivated, you cannot do anything. Hata ukitaka kununua nini unaambiwa, where is your PIN? hii pini yako ni kama ifanyi kazi. So 759 billion shillings owed to KRA by firms and wealthy individuals. Kwanza hapo kwa wealthy individuals. Other stories here, local firms buy extra 14.5 billion shilling NSE shares. Trade in the Nairobi Stock Exchange or Securities Exchange is really growing, and especially in the last few months. A few months towards the end of 2025 and even this year, inaenda tu ikienda juu. Big contractors on the ticker. Big contractors reject interest waivers on road projects debt. But why? Big ticket contractors, mainly Chinese-owned firms, have rejected a push by the government for a waiver of interest charged on the 650 billion shilling debt. Oh, okay, now I get it. It's the other way around. KCB gets green light to auction T-Firms assets over 1 billion shilling loan. Nani billions tu. Kila mahali billion tu. Jana tuko nazungumzia mtu ako na deni ya 8 billion.
8.2.
Unatembea hii town hivi uko na deni ya 8 billion.
Must be nice, the wealthy.
All right, Business Daily.
Taifa Leo, nani anawinda Gachagua? Ukatili. Tukio la kusikitisha Jumapili katika kanisa la Witima ACK Othaya Nyeri ni la hivi punde katika msururu wa visa vya aina hiyo. Wakuu wa usalama wakijumuisha Murkomen, Inspector Generali wa polisi, mkurugenzi wa DCI na wengineo wanasema hawajui nani aliyepanga uhuni huo na kuahidi kufanya uchunguzi. Je, ni nani anayehusika na unyama huo? Maafisa wa serikali wamekana kuhusika katika uvamizi hatari ambao Rigathi anasema ulilenga kumuua. Sasa
maafisa wa serikali wanasema hawakuwa, lakini wale polisi tuliona walikuwa ama si wa serikali, sio maafisa wa serikali.
Na government vehicles.
Na gari za GK za polisi. Hizo si za serikali.
Si za serikali.
Kuna mtu mahali ako na gari zake za polisi. Anakaa tu nazo mahali.
Na tear gas pia wananunua police pa market.
Government issued GK47 and tear gas canisters. Ziko kwa mikono ya raia.
Vidokezo zaidi, umri wa kula pesa za Inua Jamii huenda ukapunguzwa. Wizara ya tathmini pendekezo la kupunguza umri huo kutoka miaka 70 hadi miaka 60. Uhuru sasa kumwachia Matiang'i mikoba rasmi. Mabadiliko ya uongozi kumpa Matiang'i jukumu kamili kura za mwaka ujao. Walioasi UDA wahudhuria kikao cha Ruto Ikulu. Rais aongoza mkutano wa baraza kuu ambao wa Mushomba, Koemburi walihudhuria.
Niliona hata yule nominated MP anaitwa Sabina Chege there. And from what I know and from the records, Sabina Chege is still a member of Jubilee Party. I don't know how she decided to go for a UDA meeting, but anyway, interesting.
Mambo ya siasa.
Mambo ya siasa ni magumu.
Serikali yaongeza pesa za elimu ya bure ya msingi kule juu. Kila mwanafunzi wa shule ya msingi kulipwa shilingi 2,300, si shilingi 1,100.
Lakini pesa zenyewe zitafika, ndio swali.
Next season yanukia tena, Arsenal ikila rungu la Man U. Hiyo ni habari katika ukurasa wa nyuma wa gazeti.
Tunazingatia habari kuu. Kuna habari zingine ndogo ndogo kama hizo atashughulika nazo leo. Arsenal wako tu sawa. Gazeti la Taifa Leo, tuende kwa People Daily. From pledges to blunders, executive lapses they call it. They're talking about missteps tainting Ruto's government. This is almost 4 years into his presidency. And the things that have been overruled by the courts so far, the appointment of 21 advisors who cost the government about 1 billion shilling a year, the creation of 50 chief administrative secretary positions, while going to a CAS, hiyo ikakataliwa. Formation of the victim compensation panel ikakataliwa. Executive orders on public service hiring, nullification of state corporation hiring guidelines, nullification of the establishment of a task force on addressing human resources for health, formation of a 23-member task force on police reforms, the merger between, this is a funny one, the merger between Amani National Congress and the United Democratic Alliance. Jana aliyekuwa wakati mmoja kiongozi wa chama, lakini according to the court he's still the party leader. Alikuwa amevaa ile scarf ya UDA and speaking very strongly as a UDA member. Lakini koti imemwambia wewe rudi ile nyumba hujabomoa vizuri, rudi huko. And the orders prohibiting the upgrading of JKIA through a Adani deal. These are just some of the things that the president had hoped or tried to do but were overruled by different courts. So they're calling it executive lapses. Other stories, pale juu, Khair Mohammed taking youth first, politics from Parliament to Garissa. That's a female politician. They've done a special feature for her in this paper. Why Orengo could shape ODM's direction ahead of the 2027 presidential race. James Orengo, the Siaya governor, appears to be one very controversial figure, especially within ODM. Sasa kila mtu anasema Orengo utaona. And I don't know, interestingly, he's been very quiet. He's not as noisy, but everyone is mentioning him now. So that story in the inside pages. Page 10, a lot of politics and matters government.
All right, finally, the Standard, the untouchable. Impunity, they say. Two powerful Mount Kenya politicians, Murang'a woman Representative Betty Maina and Mathira MP Eric Wamombi, are at the center of explosive claims linking them to violent disruptions of former Deputy Rigathi Gachagua's church meeting. Fred, the director, is speaking to you.
Oh, all right. Anasema nini?
All right, while we wait for that. Now, as disturbing scenes involving women and children emerge, the alleged actions have made a mockery of the title Honorable, while police inaction has reignited fears that some commanders may be acting at the beck and call of politicians with influence, not the law, determining who is questioned, arrested, or left untouched, raising hard questions about impunity and whether some leaders are truly untouchable.
Interestingly, these two leaders, that's the MP for Mathira and the Murang'a woman rep, appear to have a lot of details about the attack. Ndo walikuja wakasema the goons converged, sijui wapi, wengine wakasema mpaka walikuwa wamepanga vile tear gas itakuwa kwa ofisi ya nani. How come the police are not going or summoning them to explain this further? We'll be looking at this and a lot more with my panelists this morning, and I can see already in studio we have the MP Embakasi North, James Gachagua, and also the MP East Africa Legislative Assembly, David Ole Sankok. Good morning, gentlemen. Karibuni sana. A lot to talk about. I understand you're going to Naivasha, Bwana Gachagua, later today. So you'll be telling us more about what's happening there.
Right, this morning.
Yes, this morning. Yes. And Bwana Sankok, you'll be telling us about the plans for East Africa. We can see after elections in Uganda and Tanzania. Should we expect what we saw there here in Kenya?
The peaceful election, eh?
Where was the peaceful election? In Tanzania?
Both Tanzania and Uganda.
And Uganda.
Yes.
So we should expect the same kind of peace.
And very democratic election.
Very democratic and peaceful.
Yes.
We should expect the same in Kenya. All right, we'll be engaging them later on.
Peaceful elections.
Peaceful elections. It's relative.
Right.
Right.
Tukiangalia the inside pages of the Standard. Free education, that's a question they're asking on page 2. Only in name as parents shoulder rising school fees. And they say despite promises of free education, Kenyan parents face rising costs for uniforms, fees, and admission levies. Prison officers jailed for aiding escape of varsity attack terrorists. Unakumbuka hii, I think in 2024, those 3 gentlemen escaped Kamiti prison. Do you remember that?
Yes. And they disappeared.
They disappeared.
Never to be seen again. Hata ule mwingine wa ile place ya Kware.
Yes.
Alienda tu, he just walked away and disappeared.
This is a very interesting.
And the way it was so easy to catch him and to arrest him.
Was it Jumaisi?
That one.
Is power couple Ruto's weapon against Rigathi? Power couple. This story here, Betty Maina and of course Eric Wamombi. High Court suspends state legal deals after misuse allegation. Watchdog role in question as MPs hold luxury retreat.
Luxury, hapo kwa luxury. Anasema they're spending too much money.
Kwani upendi luxury?
No, it's about audits. Members of parliament apparently wanaenda Naivasha for 5 days.
Yes.
In a luxurious resort.
And that story about NSSF on page 8. More pain for employees as new NSSF rates set to come into force. The mandatory monthly contribution for employees jumped to a maximum of 6,480 shillings from the current 4,320. Now, yesterday, the Star was reporting to 7,200.
Yes, that was a Star.
Yes. Today, the Standard is reporting 6,480. Don't get confused. Jana tulisoma hiyo. On the back page, Man United keep Arsenal's mouth shut and lip sealed. Okay. Gunners are now 3 without a win in the top flight.
Sisi ni wanyonge, tumenyamaza.
Hatuna maneno. Carrick relishes Man United opportunity after stunning Arsenal. Wacha asikie nimebucha hiyo jina. That's the Standard this morning.
All right, so those are the local dailies, and we'll be looking at them with my panelists in a short while. Let's take a look at the cartoons this morning. And of course, a lot of Gachagua here and there. And we start off with a cartoon on the Daily Nation. This one, caricature of church leaders there. Wanaomba mikono juu, mwingine ni archbishop. Ukiona mtu amevaa purple, hiyo ni bishop ama archbishop. Alafu goons wameenda, they were targeting huyu jamaa wa mlima, akakwepa namna hii ikalima mtu wa kanisa. So kanisa ni kama tu collateral damage. The issue is about political rivalry. Makanisa yamepatikana tu in between. Lakini let's be considerate even as politicians. Kanisa zinabeba kila mtu. Watu walimane huko nje. All right.
The Standard draws comparison from ile kitambo, the early 2000s. Jeshi la mzee versus today. It's
police. Yani sasa ni political goons wako in police uniform. Why do you need to hire goons when wanakaa hivyo if you can just get them in uniform direct? Yeah. Complete with government issued guns and tear gas. Mbona ushughulike kwenda kuleta watu wa marungu? Enda tu polisi upewe gang na uendelee na kazi.
All right, that's the Standard.
All right, that issue of violence and politics also features on the cartoon on People Daily. So we have a ballot box there for 2027 with a huge plume of dark smoke coming from it. And Mama Mboga hapa anasema, where there is smoke, there is fire. Should we ban Kenya because of greedy politics? That's just a question. Should we expect what we saw on Sunday, more of that as we get closer to the elections next year?
Finally, the Star, the book of Amos Kimunya, that was finance minister in 2006. This is not a fish or waru market, na anaambia Ndindi Nyoro pale akitufunza finance 101. Lakini
wanakuanga wamekasirikia Ndindi sana. Ndindi anawaambia pana, wala kasirika, wanasema wewe unatuambia nini wewe? Lakini nye The Star, it's fresh, independent and different. Unasikia kila mtu mwingine anaongea kuhusu political violence.
Yes.
Menda matters treasure. Anyway.
Nasema kama utaki tufunze matters finance, Ndindi Nyoro atatufunza.
All right. Once again, my panel this morning will be made up of David Ole Sankok, MP East Africa Legislative Assembly, Harrison Kenyanjui, Advocate of the High Court, and James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North. Do stand by for this conversation starting in a few minutes' time.
All right, later on we'll be talking matters business with Kathleen Murray, the Head of Programs and Training, Centonomy Limited. Kenyans are borrowing to survive. How do we go about that?
All right, let's take a look at some of your feedback this morning, and we start off with Gladson Obwamu. He says, good morning, it's a happy day to be alive. Man United is the reason for the season. Ay. Shosho Watwana, watching Kiganjo Nyeri with Elijah Kimani wa Kandara. Geoffrey Musungu says, good morning, watching from Karagita, Naivasha. Na Rausha wife, Masi Kea Mushiba wa Buibo, Juma Makoha na Dickens Tete. Mumea Raushwa. Arnold Okunyuk, well representing in Nikiwa Naivasha, Olkaria, Hellsgate, Kamere, Geothermal, and quite a number of people watching us from Naivasha this morning. Thank you for keeping it TV47. Gilbert says, representing Transmara Narok County, well tuned.
Advisor Pastor Emmanuel Barasa, we see you. Good morning. Sharon Kananu, good morning, watching from Pangani. Narausha watu wote wa Thika Road. Waamke manake, right now I'm sure traffic ishaanza hiyo barabara yenu. Elijah Marshall, good morning to you too. Mode Mba anasema watching live from Qatar, it's freezing huku, okay. Kitengela Massive also well represented, that is Emmanuel Barasa. Mukoya Yua, Iale MP Sankok. Well, hiyo tutakusomea yako peke yako. Lakini Mukoya, we see you. Good morning to you too. So keep interacting with us on our socials. TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. We're next at TV47 Digital. My handle is at @Ann_Odida. Huyu Mukoya amefanya nika lose focus kidogo.
Focus. All right, my handle on X is at Fred Ndimuli. See you after the break.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Ouma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
What was meant to be a moment of prayer and worship turned into scenes of fear and chaos at Wetima SEK Church in Nyeri County. On Sunday morning, as congregants listened to the sermon, panic erupted when individuals believed to be security officers allegedly stormed the church compound.
Wakina mama wote, wajua watu walianza kuiba na hiyo harufu ya nini. Wengine walikuwa wamelala chini. Watoto wamelala chini. Hata nikaona pastor amechukua watoto wameanza kuwaocha na maji.
Bullet holes still visible on the church doors tell the story of what happened here. The parish bishop says shots were fired, piercing the sanctuary doors as officers attempted to force their way in. The main entrance was also broken as tear gas canisters were allegedly lobbed into the church, disrupting the service and sending worshippers scrambling for safety.
They were able to destroy part of our church with the bullets, and they broke the windows with tear gas canisters. Fortunately, nobody was injured, although they suffered the effects of the tear gas.
According to witnesses, the incident left women and children deeply traumatized, with many running for cover amid clouds of tear gas. One church member says the experience will remain etched in their memories.
Huko ndani wakina mama wote, wajua watu walianza kuiba na hiyo harufu ya nini. Wengine walikuwa wamelala chini. Watoto wamelala chini. Hata nikaona pastor amechukua watoto wameanza kuwaocha na maji. Halafu kuwapaguza kwa macho na akawatoa anawapeleka kwa wale kwa madhahabu. Aliwalalisha hapo wote. So ilikuwa baya kabisa.
Church leaders condemned the incident, terming it unacceptable and a violation of sanctity of a place of worship. They are now calling on security agencies to conduct independent and thorough investigation and ensure those responsible are held to account.
We are demanding that investigations be done. Those who are found culpable be prosecuted and punished for the heinous act that happened in the church yesterday.
As political leaders trade blame over chaos, police are investigating the incident. For the congregants of Wetima SEK Church, however, the scars of Sunday's melee remain raising serious questions about the use of force in sacred places. As blame games remains constant from both political divides on who planned the Sunday chaos that affected this church, all eyes now shift to police officers to conduct thorough investigations and bring the perpetrators to book. Mike Kaguongo, TV 47, from Wetima in Othaya constituency, Nyeri County.
Yes, indeed. That remains the biggest discussion since the weekend. Storm over Gachagua gun attacks. And the Daily Nation has done us justice, giving us a chronology of events over the last 2 years where such kind of chaos has been meted out, especially on opposition leaders. And out of the 10 instances, about 7 of them in religious events at church or a congregation where prayers were being held. This is how we start our conversation this morning. Two concerns, Bwana Gakuya. One, the use of police officers in such instances. And secondly, the concern that 18 months to elections, political violence or political rivalry appears to be getting more physical. And we've been discussing this for the last few months. Is this what we should anticipate going forward towards 2027?
Thank you, Idimori. Allow me to salute viewers wherever they are watching this morning show. First and foremost, Idimori, let us agree that a country is made up of constitution. And what makes the country grow is giving that constitution respect and conducting, people conducting themselves on a manner that they move all their steps under the roof of that constitution. But when a government becomes law and moves out of the constitution and behaves as if the country is in jungle, then it becomes not normal any longer. Because Kenya is a country where is a multi-party democracy country. And these kind of actions, these kind of evil actions is nothing that we could expect that our constitution could allow to happen. One, churches and religion is already part of the constitution where the freedom to worship is to everybody. And therefore, nobody should wake up to punish you because you have taken a particular church for worshiping. Mm-hmm. And it has become so heinous that officers of the government, because nobody could tell us there is anybody who is licensed to do kind of evil action that we saw in Waitima, and whatever we had witnessed happening elsewhere, where you can allow men with what we call armed guns to strike, where surrounding there is a police station, which cannot even dare to know who are these people who are terrorizing. And action like what was we witnessed last week, that is not even a criminal. It is a terror, and a pure terror. How can you attack there before? Actually, they had been throwing tear gas. But this one was more than unusual because we found live bullets, live bullets shot. We have seen windows broken and doors even broken by officers forcing themselves inside the church. The big question is, what kind of criminal act had Gachagua done that these officers made sure that Gachagua has to be arrested? And the next question is, if Gachagua had made a criminal act, why wasn't he arrested? Because then the obvious was, these guys has come and they have come to arrest Gachagua and his team because they have gone against the law and they have to be punished. But that was not the thing. The mission was to come and terrorize the church, where the church which was having young children, women, and old men, and making panic to them. This is too heinous. This is too heinous. And I can tell you, my good people, Kenyans, election has to come and go. But a country, if we take country into a part, to build this country back, we will take ages. And also, let me tell you, any election which is not pro-people, which is not people-driven, is against the law, is out of order, is out of constitution. Therefore, if election of 2027 are the causes of these skirmishes, I totally can't even agree. And because we cannot say, because it had happened in Tanzania, and we have Tanzania chaos, and we have seen Museveni, it has to happen in Kenya. Kenya is very much ahead. And we can't allow this kind of action. And Kenyans should wake up and ask themselves, are we constitution-driven or are we in jungle-driven?
All right. And yes, a lot of comparisons are drawn from especially our neighbors, Uganda and Tanzania, and the way they've used security agencies, police, even the military, in politically ideally politics, an electoral process, for example. We saw what happened in Uganda where police were stopping opposition leaders from moving and campaigning. Those were many instances. We saw how the military and the police had to come in Tanzania as well. We are seeing bits and pieces of that happening in Kenya. And everyone is saying that Kenya probably we are different because we have a different constitution. But surely, isn't it the same thing we are seeing? What we saw in Tanzania and Uganda, we will definitely see in Kenya as well, in as far as using security agencies in an electoral process.
Thank you very much, Nimuli, and let me start by greeting all our viewers. And I have, first of all, two congratulatory messages. One to His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for winning the election in Uganda. He is my friend, political hero, and he is the only remaining Pan-African that we still have in Africa. So we can comfortably say he is the father of Pan-Africanism. Secondly, I congratulate Manchester United for not shutting, as I have seen in the newspaper, shutting the mouth of Arsenal. Of course, you know, that is a small team with a faith that is synonymous with that one of Lenjo Maria.
You know, you risk starting a new debate here.
You know, the last time they won the EPL, the league, was, I think, when Van Persie was not even born. Van Persie was born, he played for Arsenal, and later on he is now a coach. So their faith is synonymous with that one of Lenjo Maria. Having said that, Manu also, instead of shutting the mouth of Arsenal, it actually shut the mouth of our noisy neighbors before, that is Manchester City. Anyway, having said that, is that Kenya have its own share of problems. We had Gen Z uprising just recently, and before that we had issues with our post-election violence, not only in 2007, 2013, 2017. And I think it is high time Kenyans concentrate in solving their own local political issues rather than comparing themselves and infringing their noses into our sovereign neighbors. We are part of EAC, but the East African community is not yet a country. It is still an economic bloc, with each state having their own sovereignty. And that sovereignty and their own constitution must be respected. They did not interfere with our electoral process, even during post-election violence, and we should not interfere with them. Anytime you discuss about a foreign country, election or whatever you may found is insecurity or security, it should be done in a structured manner. In 2007, we had our own fair share of problems, but we actually came out and requested for support in solving our own internal affair, but it was done in a very structured manner in which Benjamin Mkapa and Kofi Annan came in. So if we have to discuss about Uganda politics, Tanzania election, it should be in a structured manner. And I think Kenyans should respect our neighbors. We have a lot of political activism, but let us not export. It's only fair to draw
comparisons. They are our neighbors and we are from the same community.
We are not drawing comparison. We are actually exporting our activism to our neighbors. You remember Mother Karua had to be returned back. Yes? You remember others, I think Mwangi, Boniface Mwangi, they interfere. We are not only drawing comparison. We are actually interfering and trying to be more Ugandans and more Tanzanian.
My question was on the use of security agencies in electoral processes, because that appears to be a common factor in across the region.
There was a time our constitution allowed us to do voting in a queuing system. Nobody interfered with that, although that was a manipulated form of election. There was a time that our election was carried out by consensus. If the Constitution allows, read first of all the Constitution of the United Republic of Tanzania. Read the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Understand what the Constitution allows them to do. For instance, in Uganda, in the United Republic of Tanzania, an electoral boss is like a court of appeal judge. Yes, and the qualifications are the same. And that once he declare or she declare the election, that is final. You can't go to court. That is the Constitution. Mm-hmm. Ours here, you have to go to court. We can now say, because we are comparing, United Republic of Tanzania, if they are not content with the election outcome, they should go to court. No. So we can do comparison, but in a manner that we don't interfere with sovereign countries. By the way, Ndimuli, Kenya benefit more in the East African Community Economic Bloc. We fly to Democratic Republic of Tanzania using Kenya Airways, probably 8 times in a week. They don't have an airline, so they don't fly into our country. We have our banks, Equity, for example, KCB, in most of the 8 member states of East Africa. Our businessmen are doing. Let us really, in fact, let us be fair to our businessmen who are across the borders.
All right, fair enough. Let's focus. Let's focus on the violence in Kenya. Yes, and the use of police with government-issued AK-47 and tear gas. Whoever planned it, and I've seen the accusations, probably it was stage-managed or the other. The use of police is my concern. Whoever planned it, whoever pushed for that, it is the use of police that I'm questioning.
All of us are against the use of violence, against opponent, and using state agencies to settle political scores. But Ndimuli, you have already made up your mind. You have said AK-47 issued by government.
Because they were police officers.
Are you sure it was issued by government? You know, there are illegal firearms, yes, in this country. And they are still mopping up the illegal arm. So let us be fair. We are totally against.
In the incident we're talking about in Wetima, we saw the use of police vehicles with GK number plates. Those are government issued. Are you contesting that?
That is very wrong. And we allow our investigation agencies to carry out the investigation. I think if the police are involved, IPOA is supposed to be independent. And it should actually be independent. Okay. But I can tell you, Ndimuli, nobody can support weaponizing of our security agencies against opponents. When we were campaigning for the current regime, I and Banzu, we were there and saying that we will not allow the system, deep state, to weaponize state security against the then Deputy President William Samoei Arap Ruto. I still stand by that. Mm-hmm. The former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, have all the rights, not only to campaign, but to, in fact, it is immoral. Okay. A church service.
But Gakuya, the concern here is that now, because political violence, and we've discussed this quite a number of times, especially around the by-elections of last year, and even within Nairobi politics, the use of goons to settle political scores. But it would appear that we've moved a notch higher, that you do not have to hire goons from a slum in Nairobi. You can just go ahead and hire a group of police officers and they can do the job for you. That is the biggest concern we have right now.
The most unfortunate is that a country like this, it's unfortunate because the signs and indicators are that we are on a failed state. How do you arrive to a failed state? How could you allow police officers to misuse arms to make terror to Kenyans without any single action taken by the government? What the government only do is to lament that should the investigation be done with immediate effect. But ultimately, cameras nowadays are at the top gear. People are using what we call cell phones to take what we call immediate photos and clips. So you don't require to move to engines to make what you call investigation. You have every evidence on the table. And you want to tell us you take a month or 2 or 3 to investigate. This is what we call diversionary measures, that you are using and misusing police, but we want the public to believe that these police are not real police. And if they are not real police, why are they allowed daylight to terrorize without any action taken? In Othaya, there was a police station just 200 meters from where this evil action was taken. When all these bullets were being shot, no single police officer came to rescue the already invaded church. My big question is, where are Kenyans? How safe is Kenya if a police station is not there to rescue, to protect Kenyans? Kenyans under whose mercy? And if really the country is going to allow what we call criminals, goons, police purported to be goons under the watch on a daylight, where are we as a nation? What kind of government we can say we have? Because one, we must know what are the 3 major important jobs for a government. One is to protect the constitution. That is the end of state. Number 2 is protect the people and their properties. Mm-hmm. Who is there now in charge to protect people and their properties if people can be terrorists on a daylight, not even night, daylight, and nobody is arrested up to now?
Yes.
Matatos were seen. That Matato, even the number plate was taken. It is not yet in a police station. The Land Rover was there. It was taken, even its number. It is nowhere even taken to any single police station. And those people who terrorized, they are still free, enjoying their freedom. Where are we as a nation? Are we in a failed state, or where are we?
That's a concern, Bwana Sankok, that it would appear that all these instances of violence, there's rarely consequence to the alleged perpetrators. That we saw a lot of violence around the by-elections of last year, and in different areas, in Mbeere North, in Malava, and elsewhere. We still do not have anyone who's been arrested or taken to court. That's a concern. If that trend continues, this is more than 50 hours after the incident in Wetima, no one has been arrested. People are coming out and claiming they have information about how this thing was planned. No one has been summoned. What trend are we bringing here?
I think our security agencies should actually up their game. Because with all this violence after the by-election, and even before, I heard about the Limuru incident, where the late, the former deputy president was there. And I think it is really wrong, and it is high time that our security agencies up their game. But we also have to allow them some time. I hear sound and clear my friend, the incoming governor of Nairobi, saying that probably there is photos that were taken by individuals. Investigations should be taken also on those photos. With the era of AI and video shopping and photoshopping, they also need some time, but not that long time, because by-election was a long time ago. The Limuru incident was a long time ago. I may say that the Othaya issue, they are still carrying out investigation. But Kenyan cannot be confident that there will be outcome, because there was no outcome in the Limuru incident. Mm-hmm. And I think the Inspector General of Police, surely, just be independent. And I want to tell our security agencies, you remember our 2007-2008 post-election violence. After that, there was the ICC. There was even the General Ali, who was the Inspector General of Police at that time, when he appeared in ICC, he did not have crown ya serikali. He did not have the police uniform. So please, take care. Don't be misused politically to settle political scores, because you'll carry your own cross.
Right. I'd like to welcome Wakili Harrison Kenyanjui onto the set. Wakili, karibu sana, because I'd also wish that you comment on this. We're discussing what happened in Wetima, Othaya, and this is just one. The Daily Nation has listed a chronology of such incidences and numbering 10. Most of them targeting leaders of the opposition, mostly in churches, and the attacks affect more people beyond the politicians. But of even greater concern is the use of our security agencies in such violence without consequence. And it brings to question the independence of our police service and who takes the blame for such. When a unit or a number of officers go rogue and do something for political expediency, who takes charge? Wakili.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's very unfortunate. There is, in this country, the perpetration of that which is profane. Nothing is any longer sacred. The buck stops with who? The president. He is a commander-in-chief. The police force, the administration police, the military, the navy, all are under him. Did you hear the government spokesperson come and say that, look, these are photoshopped, like Honorable Sankoki saying, these are video shopped images that we are seeing trending online about these church attacks? No. The government is silent because they are privy. The weaponization of the police force so as to attack your political opponent, and this is a repeated pattern. In 2007, it seems that we never learned any lessons. The invasion of the Kamba church, the killing of the innocent, is something that, to these people in government, it was child's play, in my view. Child's play. And this is a dangerous path, because you demonstrate to us, beyond peradventure, you do not value life. You do not value the freedom of worship. And you want to attack your opponent. Let's be clear. Look, Ruto is so scared, stiff, of Honorable Gachagua. The machinery that Gachagua has cannot, financially speaking, politically speaking, equate with what Ruto has at his disposal. Ruto is able to bribe and get people in buses, bus them from all over so that they can attend his meeting, for the optics to be seen that, look, even though the general population has fallen out with him, they've disaffiliated themselves with his establishment. They don't want him even in ODM, but he wants to force himself on the Kenyan people by all means necessary. So he will take the police force, weaponize the police force, and lamentably, he wants us to accept that as normal. Normalization of attacking people. Children in church can never ever be acceptable. Now, if the police force are not going to investigate these, they are on their way to taking this country to where we were in 2007 in terms of ICC. If the internal mechanisms of resolution of criminal activity and the pacification, the cooling down of political temperatures by means of the mechanisms that are available, so that we do not escalate these into a scenario replicating the 2007, the ICC mechanism can always be kicked in. And
is that the only route? Because now many Kenyans are feeling ICC is such a long shot, and we might need to get to a different level before we go to the ICC. But someone needs to be held accountable now. Let's assume, and this is very briefly before we take a break, that there is independence of the police service.
There is no independence.
Shouldn't we be holding someone, an individual, to account, not just saying the president every time?
The independence of the police force is mythical. I mean, that's mythical. Let's not bluff ourselves. The head of state will make a telephone call to so-and-so then says that's the whatever from above. Now, we are in a more tragic scenario because the chairperson of the IPOA, this is the Commissioner Hassan, is now going to be Court of Appeal judge, meaning therefore that the head of the IPOA will then have to be replaced, meaning therefore, in my humble view, that the machinery that Ruto has set as a protective cover to him and for him projecting going forward, and in the event 2027 does not turn in his favor, hold on, you are the podium, hold your horses, they're bolting. The machinery that he's erecting now is for his protective cover, ranging from the legislation that he's incepting and putting in motion. And if you look, for instance, the legislation that he replaced the Ethics Act with, the Conflict of Interest Act, he has gagged any public officer for 2 years. In I think, Section 26 of the SAID Act, Conflict of Interest Act. So he has that projected that I will need his protection in the event someone wants to spill the beans about my governance, poor as it is, unresponsive to the Kenyan people as it is. I want that buried under the carpet. Now, I'm saying this as I close, so that the Kenyan people should not be deceived that there is going to be a solution coming from the police force, because it is not independent. It is in one man's pocket because he wants to entrench himself. And unfortunately, let me say this, the 2024 lesson may replicate itself. How do I mean? The Gen Z may just have the Kenyan people, the spark coming over, and like that, the Kenyan people saying, no. If we have to get you out of there, we will Sri Lanka win.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll give Bwana Sankoka and Bwana Gakuya a final comment on this issue before we move to the politics of UDA and ODM. You're watching Morning Cafe. The biggest discussion, of course, is about political violence this morning.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Ouma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
I mean, you know,
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist, what is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Foreke tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Foreke is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CPU ni pune.
Welcome back. The biggest discussion this morning still on the political violence following that incident at Vitima Church in Othaya on Sunday. I want us to finish this so that we can go into some politics. But the issue now is who will be held accountable. If the police service is independent, something should be able to happen, Bwana Gachagua.
In fact, it's important to know that we are on a very structured country where the police forces has one CS interior who takes care, because military has the KDF and they have the CS on the other side. But in terms of police force, these are completely under the CS interior. And nobody else should take responsibility. We can only take the blame to CS interior, because whatever he says and whatever he preaches, he doesn't follow, and he always say opposite. When we are telling police to stop, and actually we have not twice, not thrice, not fourth, continued kind of such evil events. What do you want to tell us? You want to tell us that you are not aware who are doing this? This country will invest too much in what we call NIS. That's national intelligence. What is their business? Their business is to make sure that anything that is about to happen, including terror, they are completely ahead of the game. And they can be able to advise the government that there is a danger coming. These small things that are happening, they are happening because they are under what we call in the knowledge of the CS interior, and the president himself is aware of what is happening, using some politician down the stream. And because of only single factor, that you want to lock a particular region to be your region, it cannot happen. Allow Kenyan democracy to thrill, but the Kenya cannot get back those dark days, whether you like it or not. There is nobody who is going to buy that. Whether you are going to kill everybody, it is going to happen unless take the constitution back to parliament, let the parliamentarians around this country will be one-party state, and then therefore you can dictate this nation from there. Right. But if the country lives under the roof of the constitution, our constitution does not envisage this kind of madness. And therefore, the head of state kindly look the image of the nation and what this country internationally we are saying, make sure that the country is having its glory. But this kind of action, even investors cannot come to this kind of situation, to this kind of evil madness. And do you want to tell us that this government is capable of tracing criminals? How comes that no single goon is ever arrested? How comes even these police, in this daylight, great daylight, even today, nobody can tell us where they vanished. Okay. And we are told that they went to dine to a politician home after they did this. But because they are under a particular protection, nothing can work against us. But it is truly wrong, because we cannot base our elections under this kind of skirmishes, under this kind of attacks. It is wrong. Kenya is a democratic country. Allow the democrat to drill, and let me tell you, don't fear election. Just raise election. Gachagua is not, I don't know whether he will be a presidential contender or whether he's going to contend. But how comes that one single person can be hunted every day? It's like a lomba, or it's hunted like an antelope. It is wrong. Allow that man to in fact, breathe the democratic light. He is also a Kenyan, and he has every right to breathe what we call democratic light. Allow, in fact, this country, if we really want this country to drill forward, we must respect our constitution. And if we are not going to respect our constitution, I have seen various court orders that actually this current regime has ignored to respect. And evidently they have all moved, including kwa Jenga. They have demolished kwa Jenga with a court order already in place. Therefore, if we have turned our country, yes, if we have turned this route, because the court order is being served to police, and they have it, and they are the people who also man the demonstrations. They tell us, in fact, it's like telling us, you are on our own, and the country is in the jungle.
Right. You agree, Bwana Sankok, that yes, independence of the police service is indeed a fallacy?
Our constitution is very clear that the police service should be independent. And I think we should not be very quick to be like in political rallies, shifting blames. We are in a national TV station, and we should actually be very clear that if the police service is not independent, the head of the police service is the Inspector General of Police. It is not the president. And the president is the commander-in-chief of armed forces.
Where does the
but is not the commander-in-chief of goons, terrorists, and other gangsters out there. And it is not the first time that we have had terrorists or goons attacking not only politicians, but innocent Kenyans. At times, our police service become probably successful in arresting them. At times,
probably.
They have not
We are paying
succeeded.
them taxes to do probably?
Allow me first. We allowed you time. And we, just relax, my friend. So, and you'll have your own time. And it should be through our moderator.
Go ahead, Banam.
So, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, that we had incidences of attack to politicians. You remember the current MP of Isili is a person with disability, courtesy of a grenade planted in a meeting he was attending. And up to today, we have not arrested those who are responsible. And it was not under this regime. So sometimes our police service becomes successful in arresting the goons or the terrorists or the gangsters. Sometimes they are not that successful. But at the end of the day, our constitution is clear, and the blame should be on an individual. When you actually bring...
And that's the police IG.
And that is the police IG, the Inspector General of Police. He should be held responsible. IPOA, why have Kenyans claimed that police have turned into goons, and you are not investigating, and you are an independent commission earning from Kenyan taxpayer, the same people who are being terrorized by police whom you regulate, But when everything is piled into the presidency, I don't think it is fair, even to everybody.
Don't you think that there are orders that are expressed from the top, which does not even pass through the desk of
those are rumors. They are not in the structure of the constitution.
Okay, is there anything you want to add? Because I need to go to the politics briefly.
It's very unfortunate that we, from the mouth of Honorable Sankok, we hear voices of normalizing this criminal terrorism that we're having. We even have the Anti-Terrorism Act, but you will have an innocent person being alleged to be involved in terrorism. And I'm not trying to justify or cover up for anyone. And then you have the police force who you can see, even to them who are blind, when they hear these sort of actions by the police, that you are seeing a police officer who is driving a police vehicle and accompanying the armed plainclothes police are goons that are armed with crude weapons, and some of them were actually hurling stones in the presence of the police from the video that we saw. And the tear gas, the canisters, these are branded. They are government-issued canisters. They haven't come out to say that, we have actually analyzed these tear gas canisters, and they apparently originate from other sources other than our own reserves. They haven't said that, meaning in their deaf silence that they are admitting that this was a government operation. So normalizing this sort of thing is a dangerous trend that we are seeing, because it's not the first time that worshippers, innocent worshippers, are being attacked. But what is the end game? What is the point? What is Ruto actually seeking to derive from this? Who is the primary beneficiary? Is him. How? One, you have people who will feel, if I go to church every time that I see Wamunyoro and company there, I stand the threat of having my life actually somehow attacked. And therefore, you will sort of diminish the freedom of association and worship that ought to be there, that Honorable Kuya was mentioning about, that we should actually protect what is constitutionally entrenched. So lastly, I do not hope or anticipate that the government is going to do anything to investigate itself right here. I do not anticipate either that the person who was armed with an AK-47, you know, just like the Wild West, going to fire bullets on vehicles of worshippers and the politicians who had shown up in church. Let us separate the two issues. The freedom to worship in a church and a political activity. Because the politician, even himself, Ruto himself, will go to a church. Nobody places a finger at him, on him and tells him that, look, you're the chief hypocrite. You're not even a Christian. You don't live by the values that you see in the Bible, your own self.
Right.
You are espousing the anti-Christian behavior that ought to be there. Nobody's telling him that. No one is pointing a finger at him. No one is telling him that you are siding with the devil himself. And probably you talk to the devil at 3 a.m. Nobody's telling him that. Right. Nobody shows up in church and throws a canister at him and tells him, chases him away from there.
Dimuli.
No. It was my flaw. You had the freedom.
I need us to move on from this discussion.
I'm asking you.
I'll come to you.
Yeah. So you will.
I was not asking you.
No.
I'll come to you.
This, in my humble view, is the beginning of the worst scenario. We haven't seen the worst as yet.
All right. Very briefly.
If he is really a Christian, my colleague, as he claimed, the Bible says, judge so that he may not be judged.
No, he says you test the spirit. Testing the spirit is not judging. Testing his spirit.
Right.
He's already judging.
No.
Lastly,
read your Bible carefully.
Lastly, Dimuli, we may actually shift blames, but to me, the issue of commission or omission in protecting the former deputy president, the blame is in the Inspector General office and also IPOA, because our constitution had kept check and balances. That if our police become too rogue, then there is the independent oversight of the police, that is IPOA. So how then
what about if
we
they are
shift
all
into the president?
Okay.
If they are compromised.
What about if they are all compromised? It seems they are all compromised.
That is why we are saying the sin of omission or commission.
All right.
Commission is directly being a goon, a police goon, and omission, my brother, is when they are compromised.
All right.
So all of them.
Gentlemen, I think we've exhausted that discussion, and it will continue. It is on most of the front pages today. What happened on Sunday, very unfortunate incidents, and the greatest concern is that 18 months to election, we could be setting a very dangerous precedent where use of security agencies to fight or to settle political scores becomes, or rather is normalized. I want us to move on to politics because quite some heavy political happenings. Yesterday, the president hosted the governing council of the UDA party, where it brought together elected party leaders, including 164 MPs, 18 governors, 14 deputy governors, and 910 MCAs in State House. Bwana Sankoku, you were part of that meeting. Karibu sana. The president, very emphatic and very optimistic that this time round in the elections of next year, he's going to win by 3 million votes. But that's not the most interesting thing. From that meeting, we saw, of course, a UDA member like Bwana Gachagua was not present, but others who are allied or aligned to the side he supports right now are very much present and made some very nice comments. Let's watch this story, then come back and discuss it.
Political realignments are shaping up ahead of next year's elections, with the ruling UDA seeking a broader coalition to face the united opposition.
UDA ni fire, see fire.
In a move aimed at consolidating its base, UDA has agreed to formally engage the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, a step that President William Ruto says guarantees a resounding victory in the 2027 elections.
We are all here from different corners of the Republic, from different religious backgrounds, from different communities, but we are all weaved together by a political party that we share. And that is important for the nation.
Addressing the UDA National Governing Council, President William Ruto says that he is targeting a decisive win in the 2027 elections, even as he transforms the party into a powerful national political force by strengthening a broad-based government arrangement.
The National Governing Council notes and approves the progress report on the implementation of the plan as presented.
What we have agreed with the leadership of ODM, that let us explore the option and the opportunity of having a coalition going into the next election.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who dissolved his ANC party to join UDA, says the alliance will soon hold a forum to engage aspirants expressing interest to contest for the UDA ticket ahead of the election.
Tuwe na umaarufu kama UDA hapa mashinani ili nguvu ambazo tunahitaji kutoka kwa rais kwa mambo ya kimataifa zisipunguke.
Party rebels, Githunguri Member of Parliament Gathoni Wamushomba and Juja Member of Parliament George Koimburi, who recently returned to the fold, were among those present at the meeting.
All right, that's what we want to discuss now. Very interesting scenes. We saw Gathoni Wamushomba there, George Koimburi and others. Even Sabina Chege was at the UDA meeting yesterday. And there have been accusations that there were moles within the united opposition. Is this what you feel is coming out now?
Edimuri, I don't want to judge anybody, and I will not be here to criminalize anybody or marginalize anybody. What I would say is that I am a man who believes that one has to make his own choice. And what I would say is that these two members has made their own choice. Because we are in a multi-party democracy. And in a multi-party democracy, nobody who forced them to join Gachagua, that was their own courtesy. They decided to join Gachagua train. But in the middle, they have taken another option. I don't want to judge what made them to close the bridge and cross over back to where they were before. Because these were members of UDA. As today, I am a member of UDA. I have not quit from UDA, but my belief is that the future is not in UDA, and this country is not heading to the right direction in what we call the leadership within the UDA fraternity. And therefore, I am a man who believes this country needs to change or have to change to give Kenyans a better services or a better governance. Mm-hmm. And if their beliefs are that, in fact, now they found themselves lost and they need to come back to where they belong, I cannot be part of them because surely my conscience cannot allow me to take that direction.
But looking at the even perception about numbers and just seeing the kind of numbers at State House from UDA party, the party that you belong to, don't you think that even in as far as perception is concerned, President William Ruto is way ahead?
There's one thing that I would tell you. Uh-huh. Politically, there is what you call political perceptions. And William is very good at that. And this is what he's doing. He's just displaying this team just to show Kenyans that he has the numbers and he's ready to move. But let me tell you, the other thing, the time I was here, I told you, the cast of future of the next parliament is not under this team. Mm-hmm. The mantle is with people. And let me tell you, that's why Kenya is people-driven. We are not on what we call military government, that this man has to come back. It is Wanjiku who must decide at the ballot who will come back, who will go home, including William. He is at the mercy of the voter. Right. And then that is the way to go. And unless we want to kill our democracy, that is the democratic route. And I cannot at any time be convinced that this kind of group, this battalion, is anywhere to deal with the future of this country. Because let me tell you, there is people who will represent those other parties in their backyards. Then therefore, they are not 100% that Wanjiku will take them back. The decision shall be that's completely to Wanjiku. And that's why we are saying, do not disrupt Wanjiku's mind. Do not frustrate Wanjiku by means of using terror actions, so that you can make Wanjiku afraid and not comfortable to make her own decision. Allow Wanjiku to make her own decision at the ballot, because if we want to respect the Constitution, the sovereignty of the country is at the mantle of Wanjiku. Okay. And that's the way to go. But we should not militarize the country and make force that I must grab it by force, by fire.
But Wakili Kienjui, perceptions do matter in politics. If you look at the momentum, political momentum heading towards the 2027 election, President William Ruto appears to be ahead in as far, even the polls give him a slight lead over the rest. In as far as the kind of structures and organizations we are seeing, there appears to be a lot of momentum around UDA, his party, and what the party is going to do next. Is it going to form a coalition with the ODM? A lot of talk around President William Ruto. Do you agree that in as far as momentum is concerned, he could be 1 or 2 steps ahead?
No, I think this is all contrived. I mean, like, it's what he wants to push out there. But 3 things come from seeing him during that meeting. 1, he's not draped, he's not dressed in the regalia, the yellow, or lime green, whatever it is, that is a UDA color. He came dressed in a cream suit, kaunda suit, you know, sort of showing, I mean, like, I'm lord over you. I mean, I'm not equal. I'm not there with you. So in terms of symbolism, you can see he himself, he has elevated himself. I'm not at your level. I'm far above. He's cream, you know, kaunda suit. And everybody of you down there, you're wearing your cap. And that's the uniting only, you know, symbolic thing that he had. The attire, everything else was, you know, his own choice. He was not there. Telling you, I'm lording it over you.
Very interesting observation there. Are you saying that the William Ruto we're going to see campaigning for re-election and the William Ruto we saw campaigning for presidency as deputy president on the campaign trail will be totally different?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I was coming to the second point. Like, he's there. You could actually tell from his own voice, probably the slight tremble you need, and the silent admission, implicit, if I may, where he says that, you know, the coming election, it's going to be tough. It's going to be something else. Look, in terms of money, we spent 120 million. So he said, you know, for the nominations, the last occasion. But this time, I have a war chest. You know, sort of like he's saying, he's admitting that, look, the ground has shifted. And for me, it is so slippery that I have to do something to get a grip on it. And for him, he is desperate. He's trying to marshal all the amount of support that he can. And so he called his UDA people there. Honorable Gachagua and then who have fallen out visibly, and that's I should emphasize that, visibly with him, of course, did not show up. And there are those who are very wimpish, and you could see some lifting the two finger, you know, boldly. Honorable Kihika, for instance, when the neighbor person, I mean, the lady who was there, you know, lifting up the 2 finger, she didn't even lift, you know, and the other person that you ain't lifting, you're lifting the finger, she didn't lift the 2 fingers salute. I mean, you know, so you can see there is that, you know, split of UDA supporters who silently know that the ground has shifted so, you know, in tectonic terms, it's huge, and they cannot guarantee their re-election. The third issue that came from that was the subdued, I don't want to say castrated, but sort of, you know, yeah, he's laughing.
You said it.
Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, he was there, you know, thoroughly emasculated. Let me use that word. I mean, it's preferable. He has given away his ANC. The court tells him that, look, you didn't do what the law permits. You didn't do what your own constitution permits. And then the president himself, you know, he's so agitated about it. In that UDA meeting, he says, you can't come, I mean, these are public assets. You cannot come and acquire them, ANC, through a court order over my dead body. You know, indirectly, that's what he was saying. But there is Musalia, and Musalia is bringing out 2 aspects. And he's saying that, look, we must release the president to go and serve the New World Order system for uniting Africa, for Region 8, for the 1973 Club of Rome map, so that we can divide these as Trump goes to Greenland in order to get his Region 3. Then he was saying that, and he's going to be meeting all these leaders of the African Union, the East African Community, and so SADC, so that, you know, they can gang up with that. So he's trying to say, look, you people, we have a huge task. Ruto's role, assigned by the colonialists on him, the colonial puppet that he is, will need more time that you can afford him if you go on fight. That was Musalia's voice. And the second beat is that he was telling his own UDA brigade, now he's an agitator for UDA, although he was ANC, and I do not know what his tribesmen would say about him selling off himself to the colonial puppet called Ruto. Now, he says, the figures that we have, you people ought to up your game. We have members of National Assembly in the figure ranging upwards of 3,000 contestants. You know, that's a huge figure. You people ought to think about the competition. So, what are we going to see out of this? Honorable Mungatana, when they are given the podium to ask questions, she says, hey, I must remind you about the prodigal son. I mean, you're dishing out all the best aids to these newcomers who never actually did anything for us when we were incepting this bandwagon. And so now you have sidelined us. Oh, no. How about the presidency? How about the... So there you go again. The ego in Ruto just pushed and exploded. And he did not address that issue, which was, in my view, a silent voicing.
Yes. And
a diplomatic voicing by Mungatana that, look, hey, the perception that you've cast out there is that, look, you're prepared to work with they who come.
And you give them a bit too much.
And you give them a bit too much, and not we, and down on the ground. Yes. That perception is making us lose.
It is a fight for survival, not just for the president, but for everyone who was at State House yesterday. Everyone is seeking re-election, their own political survival. And that concern was raised, as he rightly put it, by Senator Mungatana. Do you share that concern that even with the plans to form a coalition with UDA, with ODM, that yes, there are people within UDA who are feeling where we might come out losers in this?
You know, Fred, you said I was laughing when I was, when my friend Wakili was speaking. No, I was not laughing. I was, you know, you use a very harsh word that I was counter-checking myself. And I think you have made a very good observation about the dress code of my president, William Samoei Ruto. And I can tell him it is not that issue that he was saying that he feels superior than anybody of us, but he's ahead of all of us. The dress code was more of orange yellow than wheelbarrow yellow. So it was actually ahead
I don't think
of all of us.
Colors.
So the dress code was more of orange yellow than actually wheelbarrow yellow, but that is being ahead, going into what we think is the right direction of this country, having a coalition with the ODM. And I can tell my brother and the two of them, who may have been ODM sympathizers, that we are having a coalition with ODM. And ODM needs UDA more than UDA needs ODM. As you are aware, that no party have survived after the boss have either retired or have gone to meet his maker. You remember the so-called KANU, a very famous independent party. Jogoo ilinyamaza tu wakati Moi alienda retire. You remember NAC with all the unquotable thing and all those unbeatable phrases that were used in Uhuru Park during the swearing in of Mwai Kibaki. But Mwai Kibaki did not even get out of politics. He only shifted allegiance to PNU. And the NAC party just disappeared. PNU also disappeared with Kibaki. And any other party, URP disappeared once. Ruto left. TNA died once Uhuru left. Jubilee is now in shambles. They were more in State House than actually being their own party, simply because Uhuru had retired from politics. So ODM, naturally, will die, simply because the
Did you say ODM will die? Is that your scheme? Is that what UDA discussed yesterday?
Raila Odinga is no longer there. We miss him a lot. May his soul rest in peace. Because none of us actually hated Raila. We only feared him. And you know, when you fear something, you tend to react in a manner that we want to fight. But we did not hate him. We loved him, but we feared him because he was a lion. And you can't go fight a rat and raise your profile. So we are raising our profile in fighting.
Do you share the same concerns with the Senator Mungatana? Or do you know that, or do you feel the jitters that others are feeling within the UDA fraternity, that with this coalition that you're going into, that yes, there will be losses, there will be victims, especially on the UDA side. People will lose out.
Our first agenda is to win the 2027 election. Once we win the government is big enough for all of us. But if we lose, then...
but the concern is even before that, because there are people who are seeking re-election next year. Some people may be a bit pressured. They may be under a lot of pressure with the incoming ODM brigade. Don't you think that is a more urgent concern than probably a second term for President Ruto?
Of course, you know, normally a change is as good as a rest, but it's not that comfortable as a rest. So some may not be as comfortable, I can tell you, not only because sometimes there is what we call regional geofencing, you see? Like now your stronghold is here, we will have a candidate from ODM from here. Personally from Narok, I don't know what will happen if they say the governor or the senator should come from ODM, and yes. Probably I am also eyeing, and I'm not a member of ODM. So I think Mungatana was right, and he was speaking the mind of so many of us.
Now the question
but
is,
we were a bit silent.
Did the president address those concerns?
Of course, he did try that. The presidency is bigger because once we get it, the government will be bigger for all of us. We will have a bigger house. But because, Ndimuli, if you are part of UDA, which one is more comfortable? Is it winning the presidency or winning the member of parliament slot?
For individual politicians, it is their own political survival that they're more concerned about, whether or not President William Ruto gets re-elected.
Are we concerned with the individual survival or the concern of Kenyans? That they get the best leaders?
We're looking at the numbers. Those are elected leaders at State House.
By the way, and the numbers were not even the ones that we have. Because as you see, we are quoting ODM. They should have been there. It was just because it was a restricted meeting. Otherwise, we have the numbers. You know, we will have had around 40 governors.
You know, there was a concern earlier at the very initial stages of this working with ODM. ODM, the party leader said they would be going for nothing less than the running mate position. Those are serious concerns for people who are currently occupying such positions. Don't you think that, yes, with Musalia Mudavadi there, Kithure Kindiki, now ODM coming, and they're saying we want the running mate position, that is a big problem that the president must and has to address going forward?
You know, Fred.
He's hedging. He's hedging.
Those are my concern individually. Yes, but I cannot say the concern of probably the one occupying the position of the deputy president. Don't press me too far, because at the end of the day, a prodigal son must be treated just as a prodigal son who have come back. And we will treat him as such. We will slaughter the bulls for them.
All right. Definitely, it's not going to be easy, even for those who are rushing back to UDA right now. Things are changing, especially with the coming together of ODM and UDA. The space within UDA, of which you belong to, could get much smaller for those who've been there.
But while he makes his comment, let me just put in. He himself said, probably this was a shot to Honorable Koimburi and Wamushomba. Hey, look, if you've been playing out there, if you've not been out here supporting us, forget it. You won't get the ticket. Go ahead.
In fact, the expectation is that when a father has become a polygamist, you have to make the comfort of those other wives. So what the outcome is, one, if this polygamist is not going to expand the land or to settle on a separate portions of land, if the expectation is that the small portion that is here is where the two other wives are coming to settle, it means there have to be a sacrifice for the first woman and her family, because the size must come from there. Mm-hmm. And therefore, the result is, the likelihood is that some will lose portions they are holding, because they must accommodate the already coming team. And in what we call political marriage, these are the results. And for sure, we have witnessed this. We have seen in Parliament, we have lost positions. And we have lost position to ODM. Because the earlier lineup is that ODM has their stake as the starting order. But now this marriage is beyond the starting order. So they spill.
They got more than they initially had.
And they got more than what they, of course, and this is what happened. And that's what happened is that even at the level of what you call the cabinet and the PS positions, still you must squeeze and eliminate some of you so that you can accommodate this other team. Because there is no way there can be an agreement of a particular party without conditions. So I will join you, but with condition 1, 2, 3. So at the tail end, the president has a choice to eliminate or effect one, the current deputy president, to accommodate this portion of ODM. Because finally, as much as my good friend want to tell us that ODM needs a UDA than what the UDA needs them, I believe the president needs ODM more than anything else. And that's why it's almost a physical fight, that he must make sure that anybody, he was very categorical during the value, that anybody who will try to deny or to break the ODM is going to face my land. And those statements tells you, he wants to grab the whole ODM for a standard as it is, because that means he is quoting with the numbers. But I would also give you another analysis on the result. We have an ANC marriage with the government. Already there is no party known as ANC. But if you can be able to look back, ask yourself, what kind of portion has or value has ANC come with? It's almost zero value to the party. Because you have a candidate who cannot even be able to control his county. And therefore, either the marriage would not bring any magnitude value outside there. And in terms of this particular ODM fraternity, as much as William will go to marriage with it, he will not fix the young tax. They will rebel. And I can assure you, you may marry with a shell. Yes, because let me tell you, you cannot work with the people. If the people are not pro that direction, they will move to where their leaders will be. Right. Whether they will be on the other side, that's where they will move. And let me tell you, at the tail end, you will have what will a political perception that you have married with ODM. But in the issue, on the actual reality is that you might have married with a shell. People who cannot turn Nyanza to vote. And what you need is command of vote at the tail end. Right. So the president has to be wise and has also to know, as much as he's forcing this marriage, the result, what will be the result?
The coalition building is not a simple thing, and of course it comes with its own challenges. And this will cut across even the other side of the political divide, that even in their attempts to form a coalition, they will face such challenges. But for the president, it would appear that he has a bigger task, trying to continue, because he's very optimistic that out of this marriage, he'll get a bigger margin, about 3 million votes more. That's almost 2.8 million votes more than he got last time. It's not going to be that easy for him.
I think Kenyans should be aware and alert in the wake that this is psychological warfare. He is playing psychological warfare on the Kenyan people. Excuse me. He knows he cannot win fair and square. And therefore, he's doing it the Kaguta style. And I heard Honorable Thankok praising and showering accolades on Kaguta, the president of Uganda. as though he's the Pan-Africanist he ought to be, a person who I haven't heard calling for the unification of Africa. Kaguta ran a psychological warfare on the Ugandan people, same style on this, telling the Ugandan people, oh, you know, the margin by which I'm going to win is this, so that it's entrenched in your system, just like the psychological warfare on him by Honorable Gachagua telling him that you're going to be one term. It's never left him. It's never left him. That thing is a nightmare, a waking nightmare for him every time, because that's when he goes to his political rallies and begins saying that, you know, all that you people are telling me is about one term. You know, have something else other than one term. What is he telling you? You know, you people are bothering me so much with this one term thing. You keep hammering it day and night. It is actually causing me such discomfiture. I don't want it. You have to shift your narrative now. I mean, stop. So he is playing that psychological card on the Kenyan people. And therefore, you have two reactions. A, become resigned that, oh, you know, he will win anyway. He's already won if you accept and if you admit that. B, he is then going to validate his stolen election if it comes to him not winning that vote. But you ask a question, does the merger, the anticipated coalition, with ODM, for instance, and other political parties, then have any impact in terms of the tangible results, the delivery of the so-called 2 or 3 million votes? I doubt. I highly doubt. One, we're going to see the fracturing of these political parties. Because for ODM, take for instance, we say this before, that you have factions that do not want to be affiliated, associated, or in any way mentioned together with UDA or the government. They want to chart their own path, and they feel that, look, we cannot be part and parcel of a government that has, in the manner it has acted, totally extinguished the hopes of Kenyans in terms of their living. And you will have the likes of Honorable Orengo. But in so doing, then you unleash the forces, the weaponization of all institutions against you by Ruto. For instance, Honorable Orengo, and I say the last time, that he who wields the hammer, everything appears like a nail. And the next nail to Ruto may very well be Honorable Orengo. Now, we will see probably that happening. Why? Because he wants to not just entrench himself, but consolidate, as it were, whatever political parties that are coming on board have to offer. But he has no power. Let me emphasize that. He has no power to stop the fracturing. The removal of oneself from whatever it is that is being the forced merger. Now, if you listen to him carefully during his so-called whatever, he was saying there's going to be a give and take, that it cannot ever always be like that. Well, to me, that is sort of like sounding of Kindiki. Like, look, just get ready. Just get ready. I mean, something has to give, and you probably will be, the fall guy right here. So he may not contain that fallout. How I perceive that is going to be for these individuals who feel like I suffer the biggest threat of re-election, maybe a member of National Assembly, maybe the Senate, such like, I think you will see more and more people opting to be independent. And as we go into the year, you will see they who want to disaffiliate, they who want to cut off from UDA and the perception of a failed state that Honorable Ruto has projected of his government, they will want to chart their own path. And if I'm, probably Honorable Keheka should forgive me.
That's the beginning of the end.
She should forgive me if I misread her body language. If I misread. Because what we saw, the optics during the meeting was like, hey, be about that sort of thing. I'm not going to flash anything. So that issue of the flashing of the two-finger salute sort of a thing, in itself, to me, is the charting away, the tangent away from what William Ruto stands for, his government stands for. So you probably will see in the coming National Assembly, the coming Senate, more independent candidates having been elected, because the Kenyan people, may you ask about the numbers, the Kenyan people will say, regardless of your optics, Ruto We cannot stand your government for the next 5 years.
We have exactly 8 minutes, so I want to give each one of you time for your final comments. You may want to continue talking about that, Bwana Gakuya. We may need to hear from you about the plans for Parliament. You're going on a retreat today, but Bwana Sankok, you go first.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for hosting us. And you know, my friend Wakili is actually a prophet. He even know who is supposed to trajectory in which so-and-so is going, or Susan Kika. But I can assure you, if you think that Professor Kindiki was worried, Professor Kindiki is not worried. A professor is always a professor. And the professor will never tire. And if they tire, they don't retire. And if they retire, they don't die. And if they die, they don't rot. And if they rot, they don't smell. And if they smell rose flower. So Professor is actually a mobile encyclopedia, and is very comfortable. Again, as UDA, we are not even worried about the united opposition. My brother Gakuya, we are not worried about your united opposition. We are worried about a possibility of a third force, a combination of the likes of Babu Wino, Kindiki, yani Ndindi Nyoro, the likes of Natembea, Winnie Odinga, and the Super Senator Sifuna. Those are the people we are worried about. Their combination is not only lethal, but is actually a potential game changer in the Kenya politics. And I think they should hold their horses and wait for 2032.
They're causing too much discomfort.
2032. They make us very uncomfortable. You know, in 2019, I think you remember, it was in 2018, I predicted that the first Luo president will be Babu Wino. Of course, that time people thought Raila will win the election, may his soul rest in peace. But in 2018, I knew and I predicted, the way I saw Babu Wino, that he will be, not may. And that is a prophecy.
You still stand by that?
He will be. I still stand by that he will be the first Luo president in Kenya. And he will be. But I think I will plead with him, with Ndindi Nyoro, Sifuna, Natembea, and Super Senator Sifuna. Please, let us have this coalition. Hold your horses. Your time is coming in 2032.
Asante, Bwana Sankok. Bwana Gakuya, you go next. Tell us what your plans are. 5th session of the 13th Parliament coming up?
In Dimuli, it is tradition of the Parliament that after recess, then there is what you call a retreat to make a recap and make an agenda of the calendar, because the Parliament is done by calendar. And that is what members are retreating to plan about. Remember, there has to, probably by the time of the taking recess, there were most of the, there could be, remember after this particular recess, there were pending works that people needed to know where to start, what to start with, and how to rearrange for the year. So those are that's the major and the main cause of that particular retreat. Also, it is important for us to also understand what are the given priorities as per the calendar, and therefore the need be for such a retreat, even to know if it was a particular committee, what was according to the job or their calendar of the previous year, how they had performed, what they have achieved, what they have not achieved, and what are the main the main cause on the plate this particular year. That is the main thing that it's taking us to that. And remember, the House is made up of committees, and therefore those committees now, it is not to know about their reports, where their reports, whether the reports has accomplished, or what kind of reports have you made about, and the scorecard of the various committees. That is what we're taking us for 3 days. And therefore, even personally, because I belong to Parliament, I cannot, yesterday I boycotted, but I cannot boycott this. Because it's my duty to represent the members, the constituents of Embakasi North. And the meeting is part of the planning of the parliament calendar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wish you all
And
the
maybe to sum up, let me say, my wish is that this is our mother country, all of us. And this country is run by our constitution. Then there is a duty. When you get a chance, remember, that's a favor given by the people of Kenya and God. And therefore, serve the people of Kenya on a diligent manner. Don't use force, don't dictate people, but allow people, because we are not on a military government. We are on a civilian government elected by people. It is important to respect the people of Kenya. So either way, if it comes to matter to do with the demolition, find a mechanism. We have what we call public participation. Allow that particular clause to do its work. Talk to people. Let the people also air their mind. Let them give them a say, so that when you move to demolish people, because it is in your manifesto that you are not going to keep that habit and madness of demolishing people when they are out of their homes, and that is what's still happening in the same regime. Number two, let us forget about this madness of attacking churches. It is wrong, and if we want to create fear to Kenyans, just know these are Kenyans who are maybe sons of Mau Mau and so on. That kind of fear we can't buy, and nobody will buy it. And therefore, just know, if people of Kenya, you serve them diligently, they can still give you another chance. They can still do that, because it is one's conscience that will wake up and decide whether it is William or somebody else. And it depends on how you have acted during your time of duty. So it is important, Mr. President, please work diligently, serve Kenyans diligently. Allow the Constitution to be the leader and key torch for your leadership. Don't allow misuse of power within your corridors.
Thank you, Bwana Gachagua. Wakili, you finish for us.
Thank you. I have absolutely no hope that Ruto will ever change. Ruto has sold, and just calm down, Ruto has sold disaffection among the Kenyan people. He doesn't sell hope. He sells the drudgery of the daily living that the Kenyan person has to undergo and endure every single day, sunrise to sunset. His sole ambition was to entrench himself into power, use that power for his own self-enrichment, self-gain. It has nothing to do with you as a Kenyan individual. I want to encourage every Kenyan to get back to that basic level of being yourself, recognizing that you're here on earth by God's deliberate design. Ruto cannot do anything beyond that which you permit him to do. As a Kenyan people, we ought to say, no, there are constitutional limitations to what you can do. Ruto is selling this country by the day. In his own admission yesterday, in the presence of Honorable Sankok, bear me witness, he said he goes to the US, summoned by the former president of the US, Joe Biden. He sits with Microsoft and a Qatar company in the US, note that tripartite sort of agreement, a Qatari company in DC, Washington, DC, is signing an agreement about the establishment of an Othaya geothermal power plant in order to do what? Power up a data center supposed to be managed, supposed to be to the benefit of Microsoft in the neo-colonialism digital agenda that they have and we are supposed to be paying for. That is the sort of Ruto you're talking about. On a daily basis, he is selling your birthright. The National Assembly, in my humble view, ought to have summoned him and ask him, wait a minute, you go out there and sign A, B, and C, and D. We are supposed to have oversight of that. You have not acquired or gotten or secured approval for this on behalf of the Kenyan people, and they nullify it. Do they do it? Honorable Gachagua said the agenda for the National Assembly is going to be set. Will they speak about it? No. Honorable Ruto ought to be told, you can wish for us to be in Singapore, but we, the Kenyan people, don't like your version of the Singapore.
Wakili Harrison
Honorable
Kanyanjui, asante
Honorable
sana.
Kakuya is
James
the son
Gakuya,
of a Mamau,
MP,
but I'm the
Embakasi
Moran myself.
All right.
So you should not threaten us.
David Ole Sankok, MP, East Africa Legislative Assembly, James Gakuya, MP, Embakasi North, and Wakili Harrison Kanyanjui, our panelists this morning, as we took a look at the headlines. Storm over Gachagua gun attack, that's a big one. The Untouchable, the same story on that attack at Retima. KRA catches over close to 400,000 tax evaders, and this one on the Star. 1 in 10 Nairobi men struggling with erectile disorder. This is a headline in Kenya this morning as well. My name is Freddy Ndimuli. Have a lovely morning.